Hello, my name is Patch Drury. I'm a writer and a cartoonist, and all the content that I'm creating, or YouTube videos or Instagram Reels or any of the things, they're all in service of this comic that I'm creating right now, or a graphic novel, if the word comic feels a little too lightweight for you. But it's basically a practical introduction to Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. I feel like that's something the world has lacked for a long time. It gets talked about a lot of places, but it either gets talked about from a really academic place that's a little hard to follow, or it gets talked about incorrectly, which is what I see repeatedly on YouTube. But I wanted to tackle a misconception of a different kind. Oh, and before we do that, if you want to check out the comic, you can see new pages for it every week, as well as the first chapter for absolutely free on my Patreon, patreon.com/Patch Drury, PATCHDRURY. And you can go there and there's just two tiers, a $5 a month tier and a $10 a month tier. So it's really cheap to support, or inexpensive. It's really inexpensive to support these efforts. And like I said, the first chapter's up there for free, so you can taste before you try, or taste before you buy. Yeah. So check that out. But today I want to talk about a misconception of a different kind. And this episode is about what I think Jordan Peterson gets wrong about Joseph Campbell. You probably know who Jordan Peterson is. He's pretty ubiquitous in certain corners of the internet. Now, I'm not presuming you exist in those corners of the internet, but because he's ubiquitous in certain places, he ends up on Twitter and in news feeds and stuff, and on YouTube. But he was a Canadian professor who kind of rose to fame because he was objecting to some of the language, the thing that. I'm saying this terribly. The government was trying to institute some kind of specific ways of addressing transgender people and non-binary people, and specifically that was making it to the university where he worked, I believe, and he objected to that, and his objections kind of catapulted him to YouTube fame. And the other thing that he was kind of big on YouTube for a while was kind of looking at popular movies, Disney movies, popular stories through this Jungian lens, this lens of Jungian psychology. And I'll be honest, when those were the thing, I enjoyed some of those. I was into what he was doing there. I appreciated it. The political stuff, not so much. I just didn't. I thought he went about it in a reductive, combative way, and you can disagree with that. I'm not here to disagree and talk about politics, but that was kind of where I didn't care about what he was talking about. But the Jungian analysis of various stories, I thought that stuff was good, but I don't feel like that's the heart of what he does anymore. It doesn't seem like that's the content I see, and the content I see from him now I don't really care about. But the thing we want to take issue with in this episode is he's always kind of had a bee in his bonnet about Joseph Campbell. And I've seen several YouTube videos where he discusses Joseph Campbell and kind of his issues with Campbell and Campbell's point of view. And I went to rewatch those videos before this episode just so that I could kind of reference and point to and stuff. But some of them just aren't easily findable anymore. And so what's unfortunate about this podcast then is I'm going to be talking about things I remember him saying. And that's not the most comprehensive or really that's not the best way to have these disagreements in public and stuff. And somebody could point back and say, well, you're misremembering what he said. And I accept that that's possible, that I may not be completely remembering what he said. And if I'm misrepresenting his opinion, Jordan, I'm sorry, man. I'm not meaning to do that. But I just want to talk about what I'm remembering you having said. Okay. And the first thing, and I do remember this one clearly, is you refer to Joseph Campbell as a New Age thinker. And when you say it, when I've heard you say it in videos, it's clearly meant as a pejorative. Like you're not saying he's a New Age thinker, like in a positive way. You're saying it in a way that's kind of like, we can disregard what he's thinking because he's one of those New Age thinkers. And I'm kind of with historian and author Mitch Horowitz on this, is that a New Age doesn't have to be a pejorative. The New Age movement in America included things like positive mind metaphysics and positive thinking and Christian Science, and you can have whatever opinions you want about those movements, but I say those things to say it was kind of a broad movement, and I don't think you can point at one thing and say that's what New Age thinking is. And I assume when Peterson references New Age thinking in relation to Campbell, maybe he's kind of like pointing to this kind of muddy area where kind of this Eastern thinking and this transcendental thinking kind of combine into what may feel mushy and unscientific to Jordan. But he made his bones. You could very easily refer to Jordan Peterson as a YouTuber or a self-help author, and those are terms that other people take umbrage with. That they think those are kind of lightweight terms, and so I don't think it's really helpful to try and collect everything a person is under some heading that feels small to you. And I feel like that's what Peterson was doing when he called Campbell a New Age thinker. And who cares if he is a New Age thinker? Peterson aligns himself with a lot of Christian thinkers or right-wing thinkers. And those things are just as problematic as the New Age, if not more, depending on what angle you're coming at it from. So that's the first thing. The thing that I have found the video of, and I did a YouTube short on this recently, was Peterson kind of referencing Campbell's famous "Follow Your Bliss" as a bastardization or a corruption of what Jung was telling people to do. Jung would say, follow the things that interest you, and that will lead you on this path of self-discovery, but also this kind of deconstruction of the self in pursuit of the higher good. And he makes a distinction between Jung's encouragement of that and Campbell's "Follow Your Bliss," and saying follow your bliss is just do what makes you happy, do what feels good. And that's where the refutation of that thinking is where this podcast gets its title. Campbell early on, or not early on, but later, after he said follow your bliss, he came back and said, I wish I'd said follow your blisters, because people were taking follow your bliss as a call to hedonism. And that seems to be the misunderstanding that Peterson is making. What Campbell was doing was he was saying, follow, just like Jung, follow the things that interest you, follow your passions, follow the things that make you want to get in there and get your hands dirty. And the point I made in the YouTube short is that follow your bliss is really a call to go on the hero's journey. And when you go on the hero's journey, it's not an easy thing. There's a step called the road of trials. And then there's a point where you have to atone. The step is called the atonement with the Father, but that basically means atoning with the authority figure in your life. What is the thing that you give the most authority in your life? You have to take back authority from that thing and take authority for yourself. That's not an easy thing. And then the very next step after that, as if to highlight how not easy that is apostasis. And basically, your battle with that authority figure takes such a toll on you that the old you dies and a new you has to be born. And so I don't know any way that a version of you can die and a new version can be born that isn't going to be a little bit of a trial, that isn't going to be taxing, that isn't going to be hard work. And so I really think, Jordan, the assumption I have to make there is, like, have you really read Campbell, like if that's what you think follow your bliss means, have you really dug into what he's saying? Because I don't think it's supported by the literature. The other thing, and I really looked hard for this video and I couldn't find it, but it was Peterson once again taking task with or taking exception to the follow your bliss stuff that Campbell pushed, and his attack on it, his attack on follow your bliss was like, well, what if your bliss is killing people? Are you supposed to follow your bliss then? And I just think that's such a bad faith argument. Like, you can take anybody's ideology, anybody's thoughts, anybody's MO, and push it to an extreme that it wasn't meant to go to and dismantle it that way. As an example, I think all of us here in America would say, get a driver's license. Driver's licenses are great. They give you mobility. They allow you to transport goods and services and yourself easily. And they make the infrastructure of our country just run like a well-oiled machine. We really encourage driver's licenses. But what if you like killing people and you get a driver's license? Now you've got a 2-ton weapon that you can use to kill multiple people at a time. So maybe having a driver's license isn't such a good thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a bad faith argument that, yeah, you can use anything for the wrong purposes. You can use anything in a way that it's not meant to be used, and it becomes bad. So I don't, that particular argument of Peterson's just never resonated with me. I thought it was dumb. I'll say it. And that's, I don't mean that as ad hominem. I'm not saying Jordan Peterson's dumb, but I just don't think that argument was well considered and well thought out. So anyway, those are kind of the 3 big things I was thinking of going into this episode. And so if you're into Jordan Peterson and he's helped you, and God bless it, you make your bed every day because of what he said in his books, then good. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But, we all have blind spots. We all have things that we're kind of against and react against that maybe we're not as informed on as we could be or need to be. And I would say that describes Peterson and Joseph Campbell. I just don't think he's done his due diligence as far as examining Campbell and the whole follow your bliss idea, the hero's journey idea in general. I think you could go a little deeper on that. So anyway, I'm trying to constantly put up content that shows the creation process of this hero's journey graphic novel. And like I said, you can check that out at patreon.com/patchdrury and see everything I've worked on, everything I am working on, new content going up weekly. And you can support that, and you can help me fulfill my dream of being a professional paid comic book artist, or comic book creator. I'm just the artist, I'm also the writer too. So hey, but you can help make that the thing that supports me fully. Because right now I got a day job and I want to get out of it. I want to get out of it pretty bad. So so check out the Patreon. See if that $5 or $10 a month is the kind of thing that you're willing to do to help someone get this message of the hero's journey out into the world, because I think it's a valuable message. I think it's a really good tool for helping people recreate themselves who need to recreate themselves. And arguably, I'd say we all probably could stand to recreate ourselves in some different areas. And the hero's journey is a great tool for that. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you soon.